My name is Sundra Oakley, and I am an actor, dancer, writer, producer, but mostly actor. The very first thing I remember wanting to be as a child was an archaeologist. Yes, and that was because I used to go. I have an auntie, my mom's best friend, grew up from, they must have 5 years old, and she married an Italian man and moved to Italy. And I had the fortunate luck to go and visit them almost every summer, right? She had a son that was a few months older than me. So I'm in Italy, right? And then for some reason I was learning about Pompeii and what's under the ground and seeing buildings that were hundreds of years old that touched me in a way I have no idea what or why, but it did. So I wanted to be an archaeologist because I used to think I could go around and no matter where I was, if I dug deep enough, I would find remnants of years past, of a time gone. And I was fascinated by that. So it went from archaeologist to lawyer. I don't know, it felt sexy. It felt sexy at the time. And I thought I would go to law school. And then I had a cousin who went to law school who told me, let me tell you something. Unless it is your undying passion to be a lawyer and you can't think of anything else, don't go to law school. And that had a very deep effect on me because I realized it wasn't that deep passion. Which is funny because it's the same advice I give to young people now that want to be an actor. Acting came into my life by way of dancing. I was a dancer first. I always did tap, ballet, jazz, modern, then it morphed into hip-hop dance and things like that. And I danced professionally for a while. And it was from there that the acting kind of morphed. I think it's those arts are so intertwined. I really can't tell you exactly what was the epiphany for me, what was the turning point. I just knew around 13 or so that that's what I wanted to do. To be honest with you, there wasn't any one person, any one moment. I just knew the feeling of performing, how it made me feel. How it's very similar to dance because when I dance, I feel like I am telling a story, right? Whether it's the lyrics of the song or just an emotion that I'm feeling, there is that unspokenness that was always attractive to me. So there wasn't any one person, place, thing, movie, TV show. It was that desire to perform, to transform myself from me to this character and the coolness of it all, There is a difference for each individual because some people like one medium more than the other. There are some people that are diehard theater actors and that's their passion, that's what they love. Some have no desire to do film or TV. And then you have some that are the opposite, that love to do film, love to do TV, and really don't have as strong of a drive for the theater. And then you have people like me who love both. So I had a class in high school, I remember. It was called oral interpretation. So it wasn't a theater class, but we got to do performances by way of, you could interpret a song, you could do some sort of performance, and we used to compete, and I loved that nature of it, right? You could say that's the genesis of wanting to get approval, because you go in and you compete, right? And I remember, I think I was 13, and I said, by the time I'm 16, I'm going to be a professional actor. And I was. I reached out and found agents, and next thing you know, I was doing my first television commercial. After being in New York, I was working quite successfully as a commercial actress. I did a lot of TV commercials, which was very nice. I'm very grateful for. It has given me a lot. And At the time, I did a couple of TV shows in New York, but it just kind of felt natural to try LA, because back then it was always this thing of to try LA, and I just decided this was the time to start. It was something within me that came up, and I said, I think I'm gonna try LA now. The move to LA for me was not impulsive, and I wasn't scared. I was ready. And I just always have this knowing that no matter what, everything is going to be okay. I didn't know what to expect. I actually expected to just go there for a couple of months and do what they call pilot season, which is a time when all the new shows are being brought to the front and people start auditioning for it en masse. So I thought it would just be a few months, but LA seemed to work for me. It felt good to my spirit and my soul. And I said, you know what, I think I'm going to stay. I had friends there already, so I didn't feel lonely. I know some people tend to say that they felt lonely coming to a place like LA. Fortunately for me, I never had that. I had good people, good friends. So I felt I went and I had a support system. I did a lot of different jobs. I have been a cocktail waitress. I have worked in a store. I have been a mommy and me teacher where I teach parents and their children different classes, enrichment classes. I was doing sign language classes for one of those. I think I may have forgotten some of the jobs that I have done because, different acting gigs, and then a commercial comes up and you're like, thank you, God. And you can survive for a little bit and then it dries up and you're trying to just hustle. It's a constant hustle. It's not for the faint of heart. Back then, I could do about 1 or 2 commercials a year, 3, and live comfortably. Not high on the hog, but just comfortably. It's the residuals that pay with commercials are the golden nugget, right? Because you do the job one time, but it's the residuals, meaning how they play it on TV, how many times, what network, and everything, right? So a few years back, it was a pretty expected and regimented system for that. Now the whole system has changed with streaming and everything. It's almost unrecognizable in a sense, right? Every actor will tell you they do a job and then they have this feeling of anxiety of like, oh my God, what if I never get hired again? You can come off of like the most fantastic job, but that was it. And then you think, oh God, what if I never get hired again? What am I going to do? Are people going to like me? Am I going to be pigeonholed? Anxiety, 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 anxiety. It happens all the time. Anxiety happens all the time, at least for me. Some people are better at it, and I am better now than I was before because I have a family. When you have children that are counting on you and need you to pick them up and take them to football practice, this lesson that you need for buy this for school tomorrow because they waited to the last minute, you kind of can't get too self-indulgent, right? And I always wanted my children, hopefully, to see the best side of me. Yes, I have 2 wonderful boys, Carson and Cruz. And Carson is in university in France, and Cruz is in his sophomore year of high school. Yeah, and then I have a wonderful husband as well. So I'm pretty blessed, pretty blessed. I never ever thought about quitting acting, even when times have been rough, and there have been many rough times. I never thought about giving up. There was one time when it just felt overwhelmingly just burdensome, and I said, do I really want to do this? God, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And then I thought to myself, but I love it. And I really couldn't think of anything else that I would do that would give me the same satisfaction. There are probably other things I could do that I really like, but nothing that would give me the joy that this does. You get to feel that euphoria and the thing that makes you say, I love this. I want to keep doing this. It's one of the reasons that I especially love the stage, because you get to do a play. You probably have 6 weeks of rehearsal where you get to find this character that you are a part of, and then find yourself within the fabric of this play that you're doing, right? And it's very collaborative, and you're in the trenches together, you, your fellow actors, the director, and then at one point, you have the other elements that come in. But you get to knead the dough for quite a bit in finding who this person is that I'm supposed to bring to life, so that other people can feel them and feel their soul as well. That's the beauty of theater. When you're doing film and TV now, you usually don't have that time unless you are a series regular, meaning you're one of the people that's on a show week to week and you've had multiple weeks and months to really find them. But, when you're auditioning for like a guest star role or a co-star role, which tends to be 5 lines or less, guest star tends to be somebody, for example, in a TV show, you're seeing them throughout the episode. Look, you may audition for that and then have a callback, I don't know, anywhere from next day to the next week. And then you're on set maybe a few days after that. You find out you get the job. After you say you have the callback, you can find out, you're in the running the next day. And then maybe the next day you find out you booked the job. And then maybe the next day you're at wardrobe fitting. And then maybe on set the day after that. It can happen that quickly. But you're not getting that time to really workshop this character with the director, who a lot of times when you're on a TV show, the director is for hire as well. Right? So they are executing the vision that the showrunner of the show has. So there are a lot of chefs in the kitchen, and you don't really have the time to finish. So you better you have to make a decision, come to it quickly, and what have you. A lot of people remember me from Sex and the City. That was one of the first things I ever did. I have done Code Black. I have done Being Mary Jane. I have done a show called Perception. I tend to forget some of the shows that I did. I have to go back and look at my own resume. That's kind of horrible. But I have done, what else have I done?
You didn't know?
Well, I sent her a couple emails to see how she was, but we lost touch. So what happens now?
Well, she goes back into the system until we can find her another family.
That's not going to happen.
If we find another one. Look, not many people want to take in a 14-year-old girl, let alone one with a record.
She's just a kid.
Like I said, the only other option right now is a group home.
There are things in life that I say are destined for you. You know what I'm saying? What is for you can be unfor you. I had no idea about anything about Survivor. I had no desire to do anything like Survivor. I was in an airport, I think it was Kansas City, and I'm talking to my auntie on the phone. It just so happened that this is a very quiet airport, and I wasn't being very quiet at the time. I tend to have more social awareness, but at the time, I don't know what my auntie and I were talking about, but I was laughing, bare laughing going on. This woman comes up to me, and she said, "Are you going back to Are you going on the flight to Los Angeles?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Would you mind just coming to talk to me on the plane?" And I said, "Okay." And one of the things that my dear therapist always ingrained in me was, just say yes, Sundra. Just say yes. Just say yes. So my yes was, let me get up out of my nice seat and go and talk to the woman. So she said to me, "Hey, my friend is the casting director for Survivor." So this is me internally. Oh, God. And I said, "Okay." And she said, "I would love to recommend you." And I literally said to her, "I'm a real actress. I don't do those things." But I said, my therapist is in my head. Just say yes. Just say yes. I took the card. Boom. Go to LA. Have the business card still, And I don't know. few days or so, I look at the card and I said, should I contact this woman? Just say yes. Just say yes. Let me contact her. So she asked me to come and see her. Now, where she lives in LA is a place called Venice. I live in a place called Los Feliz. It's one of those things, if anybody knows LA traffic, depending on where you live, you don't even date somebody that lived that far. You just be like, it's been great. Nice knowing you. We'll catch up on a next lifetime. Cut to, I get an appointment for an audition, a commercial audition. That is literally 5 minutes away from where she lives because I had to map it out. And I said, well, guess what? But she had offered, she said, I'll do your video for you. But again, I'm not driving to that side of town, right? So I said, well, I happen to have an audition. I can come by afterwards. Perfect. And then she did my video because I was not about to put in the work, the time or the energy for this thing. Afterwards, you know, you had to go and do some other interviews. And I'm just saying, okay, let me just be a good sport and say, yes, I can always back out at any time. Then I find out that, okay, you're in the running because they had various people there, right? And of course, they interviewed me, and because they have an actual psychologist there because they want to make sure that I'm not have mad people, right? And make sure everybody is sound. And they even tried to test me by saying, oh, you're just trying to do this for your acting career. You know, these are executives, right? And I'm saying, well, first of all, this is not acting. Second of all, I've had a career before this. You can look me up. And, you know, one of them was kind of felt he was going to try to put me in my place and ask me how much I made in acting last year. And I told him. And you see all of them just kind of all of a sudden they set up. I said, yes, this is what I do and what I've been doing since I graduated. So I ended up being chosen. And the only reason that I did it is because I was going through a bit of a depression during that time and really feeling lost, really feeling hopeless, really just feeling, what is my life? So I said, okay, this is so unusual. It would be a nice break from my everyday. Let me just do it.
You are witnessing 20 Americans begin an adventure that will forever change their lives. Watch it. It is a social experiment like never before.
So when you go on there on the first day, and it's rough, and let me tell you, it's rough. Everything is real. You are not fed behind the scenes. You are not given proper shelter when the cameras are rolling, because cameras are always rolling. There are crews who come in shifts, and they're usually, I think, in a group of 4. They cannot talk to you. Even if you're looking at them and you think the camera isn't rolling, they will just have to look at you as if you're not existing. Yeah. So I didn't know what to expect. And I think what helped me go as far as I did is that I didn't try to have this master plan of how to maneuver myself. I literally was like this country bumpkin that come to town and just trying to figure it out, you know. And I just thought about, which I think was there's a metaphor in there, just thinking of the next day. How do I get through today? I made it to the final 4. And I think it's a it's a testament to saying yes. You never know what kind of gifts may come. Just thinking one day at a time, one step at a time. Not trying to think about 5 years down the line. Sometimes that's too overwhelming. For those who have watched the Final 4, we were known as the I-24. So we were able to obliterate the other team of what they called us the brains and them the brawn. So they had the numbers and they had some guys that were big, but we had the smarts. So when it came down to the 4 of us, because we had been so tight, the agreement was that there would be 2 votes for me and 2 votes for the other person. So we would have to go into a tiebreaker, so it would end that way. The tiebreaker is to do a fire challenge. So you have to create fire, and you have to make your fire sustainable. So that means it has to grow to the point where it burnt this like a twine thing I couldn't get mine started, even with the matches. At one point we could, because we had a flint. Oh yes, we had a flint. And then the wood and everything. And you have to place everything strategically, right? So we were both having an issue. And she was having an issue as much as me. And then at one point hers just struck and she was able to get it to build, you know? But of course, with all the editing, it makes it look comical and more like with dunce and thing. That's the thing about TV. Things can be edited to look however you want it to look. The production crew who would be in to video us. Because even when you're sleeping, you know, they're there watching you. So the morning crew would come in on their little boat thing there. Again, they're not speaking to you. They're acting as if you are not there. Even when we would say, come on, man, what time is it? They would just look at you. So, right? But so it's morning time. Now, we haven't had any contact with anything in modern society, right? We could smell what they had for breakfast. So, for example, you're there. There's 4 of them. Somebody holding the boom, somebody with the camera, interviewer, etc. And we were like, did you have pancakes? I smell pancake syrup. Or if they came in the evening, you smell like a burger. Did you have a burger? Or pizza? And sometimes you would see them kind of smile, and that was it. They wouldn't confirm or deny. But you could smell things on them. You could smell the food. And it would be partly hilarious, partly torture, because you're like, oh God, what I would give for a burger, what I would give for some pancakes and not coconut. And if you win a challenge and you get, peanut butter and that was a delicacy, peanut butter on the hard coconut. But yeah, that was funny. I believe the whole process was 45 days. I believe so. Yes. Because you have training before. They give you a native person that teaches you about these plants to use. This is what you can use as toilet paper. The nice big leaf, the hibiscus leaf, I believe it was. This one to avoid, how you had to dig your hole. So we would find our own little shells, and that would be your shell that when it was time to go, you go to the opposite side from where you built your shelter, and that's where everybody dug up their holes and let nature take its course. And rain. I remember the first night we couldn't get the shelter made properly, and the rain was just pelting. You have to zone out. You have to go someplace outside of yourself just to survive. I'm very thankful for my survivor experience because it taught me that I was stronger than I gave myself credit for at that time. Physically, you are taxed. You are taxed. You are not given food off camera. You really have to get your own food, if it's whether climbing for coconut, fishing for, fishing. We had some chickens, so catching them, one, which is not as easy as some people would think. Then you have to kill it. And I personally killed chickens, like wrap the neck, the neck, and I feel bad, but you have to do it, and then you have to pluck and take out the insides, and that is a lot of work. But it also made me appreciate our food and how the people who get our food, what they do to make it easy for us to just go into the supermarket and buy, a nice sexy chicken breast or whatever, right? It's a lot of work, especially when you're using such basic tools as we had. We didn't have modern tools. At that point, I wasn't giving myself a lot of credit for anything, right? And this taught me to give myself credit, and that it's okay to give myself credit.